Every 2 weeks, millions of people experience the same emotional roller coaster. The paycheck arrives. For a brief moment, everything feels okay. Bills get paid. The bank balance looks healthy. Maybe there's enough left over for dinner out, a few online purchases, or something you've wanted for weeks. Then, slowly, the money disappears. Rent, groceries, gas, subscriptions, insurance, unexpected expenses. By the time the next paycheck is still days away, the account is nearly empty again, and the cycle starts over. Week after week, month after month, year after year. What's strange isn't that this happens. What's strange is how normal it's become. Most people don't question it. They simply accept that life is supposed to feel this way. But here's the uncomfortable truth. The paycheck cycle isn't just about money. It's about how the modern world quietly trains people to depend on their next paycheck instead of building real financial freedom. And once you understand how this system works, you'll start seeing it everywhere. Imagine someone earning $60,000 a year. That sounds like a decent income. Now imagine another person making $120,000. Twice as much. Most people assume the second person is automatically wealthier. But that's not always true. Because income and wealth are two completely different things. Income is what you earn. Wealth is what you keep. Someone earning half as much but investing consistently can become far richer than someone making six figures who spends everything. Yet society rarely celebrates saving. It celebrates spending. New phones, new cars, bigger homes, luxury vacations, designer clothes. Social media has made this even worse. Every scroll shows another person apparently living the perfect life, even if much of it is financed with debt. The pressure isn't just to earn more, it's to spend more. And that's exactly what keeps people trapped. There's something psychologists call lifestyle inflation. Here's how it works. You finally get a raise. Instead of increasing your savings, you upgrade your lifestyle. A nicer apartment, a newer car, more expensive restaurants, premium streaming services, weekend trips. None of these purchases feel outrageous. Each one seems reasonable. The problem is they arrive together. As income grows, expenses quietly grow alongside it. Soon that exciting raise disappears. You're earning more than ever, yet somehow still waiting for payday. It's like running on a treadmill. You're moving faster, but you're not actually getting anywhere. Then comes debt. Debt is strange because it makes tomorrow pay for today. Swipe a credit card, and future income has already been spent. Car loans, personal loans, buy now pay later plans, credit cards. Monthly payments become permanent residents in your budget. Every paycheck already has a job before it even arrives. Imagine carrying a bucket full of water. Now imagine someone drilling tiny holes in the bottom. One hole isn't a problem. Neither are two. But eventually, no matter how much water you pour in, the bucket never fills. Debt works exactly like those holes. Money keeps coming in, but it keeps leaking out. Here's another trap almost nobody notices. Most people exchange time for money. Hours worked equal dollars earned. That sounds perfectly normal, because it is. But there's a hidden limitation. Time is limited. Every person gets exactly 24 hours a day. You cannot work 200 hours every week forever, which means your income eventually reaches a ceiling, no matter how hardworking you are. This isn't a criticism of having a job. Jobs are incredibly valuable. They provide stability, skills, and opportunities. The problem begins when a paycheck becomes your only source of income. Because if work stops, income usually stops too. That's financial vulnerability. Now think about how most people spend their evenings. After work, they're exhausted. They've traded their energy for the day. Learning a new skill? Starting a side business? Investing? Reading? Those things require energy. Energy they no longer have. So they rest. They watch TV. Scroll social media. Repeat tomorrow. There's nothing wrong with relaxing. Everyone deserves rest. But if every evening looks exactly the same, nothing changes financially. The paycheck remains the center of life. One of the biggest myths about escaping the paycheck cycle is believing you need a massive salary. History tells a different story. Many financially successful people didn't begin with extraordinary incomes. They began with extraordinary habits. They paid themselves first. They invested consistently. They avoided unnecessary debt. They increased income when possible. Most importantly, they made their money start working alongside them. That's the key difference. Instead of depending on one worker, they gradually created thousands of tiny workers called dollars. Every invested dollar becomes another employee. Some work slowly. Others work faster. But together, they generate income without needing additional hours. That's the power of ownership. Think of money as seeds. Most people eat every seed they receive. Nothing grows. Others plant some of their seeds. At first, the difference is invisible. The person planting actually seems poorer. They drive an older car. They skip unnecessary purchases. Their friends wonder why they aren't enjoying life more. But years later, the seeds become trees. The trees produce more seeds. Eventually, the harvest becomes larger than the original effort. That's how wealth compounds. Not overnight, but over decades. Here's why patience feels so difficult. Humans naturally value immediate rewards. $100 today feels better than $100 next month. Businesses understand this perfectly. That's why everything is designed to encourage instant gratification. One-click purchases, same-day delivery, flash sales, limited time offers. Buy now, pay later. The entire economy competes for your future income. Every advertisement asks the same question. What if you bought this today? Very few ask, what if you invested instead? Now imagine two friends. Both earn the same salary. Friend A spends every raise. Friend B invests half of every raise. After 1 year, the difference is small. After 5 years, it's noticeable. After 20 years, the gap becomes enormous. Not because friend B was lucky. Not because they were a financial genius. Because small decisions repeated consistently create massive outcomes. Success rarely arrives through one giant choice. It usually arrives through thousands of tiny ones. Another reason people stay trapped is fear. Investing sounds risky. Starting a business sounds risky. Changing careers sounds risky. Ironically, doing nothing also carries risk. Inflation quietly reduces purchasing power. Skills become outdated. Industries change. Technology evolves. Playing it completely safe often becomes the riskiest strategy of all. The goal isn't reckless risk. It's intelligent risk. Learning before acting. Growing gradually. Making informed decisions instead of emotional ones. Financial freedom isn't really about becoming rich. It's about gaining options. The option to leave a toxic job. The option to spend more time with family. The option to travel. The option to say no. Money cannot buy happiness, but it can buy time. And time is one of the few things you can never earn back. That's why wealthy people often focus less on buying expensive things and more on buying freedom. So how do people actually begin escaping the paycheck cycle? Not through overnight success, not through lottery tickets, not through secret investment tricks. It usually starts with simple habits. Spend less than you earn. Avoid high-interest debt. Build an emergency fund. Increase valuable skills. Invest consistently. Create additional income streams whenever possible. Repeat. Again. And again. It sounds almost boring. Because it is. Wealth is often surprisingly boring. The exciting stories make headlines. The consistent ones build fortunes. The paycheck itself isn't the enemy. For many people, it's the foundation of financial stability. The real danger is believing it must always be the destination. Imagine your paycheck as fuel. Fuel isn't meant to stay in the tank forever. It's meant to move you somewhere. If every paycheck simply disappears into expenses, the destination never changes. But if part of every paycheck purchases assets, skills, investments, or ownership, each paycheck becomes a stepping stone toward freedom. Eventually, the goal is simple. Reach the point where your money begins replacing part of your paycheck. Then more of it. Then even more. Until one day, You no longer depend entirely on the next payday. That's when the cycle finally breaks. And here's the surprising part. The people who escape it usually don't look dramatically different from everyone else. They still go to work. They still budget. They still make mistakes. The difference is what they do with the money after it arrives. Because every paycheck gives you a choice. Spend everything today, or let a small part of it build a future where paychecks become optional. The decision seems tiny, but repeated hundreds of times over a lifetime, it can change everything. The paycheck cycle isn't permanent. It's simply a pattern. And every pattern can be broken. The first step isn't earning more. It's thinking differently about every dollar you already earn. Because financial freedom doesn't begin when your income changes. It begins the moment your habits do.